Hi, this is Katrina Stratton from Spectrios Institute. I am coming to you via video chat with one of my colleagues who's going to introduce herself in a second. We thought that it might be useful to kind of talk about what it is like to be a visually impaired person, a VIP, during the COVID-19 pandemic. Like I said, I'm here with my colleague Chris at Spectrios Institute. Chris, would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi. So let's see. I have been working at Spectrios part-time now for about a year and a half, and prior to that, I've been I had a career in IT, and I've been visually impaired since birth. So I qualified to work in the assistive technology department by using the technology to support my career and family.
Absolutely. And I would say from kind of working together that you have quite the interest in assistive and access technology.
Oh, I'm a tech geek.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
I don't deny that at all.
Good. I think it has you've taught me a lot, and I know that you teach our patients at Spectrios Institute quite a bit. So I'm going to launch into a few questions that I've got for you about what kind of the last few weeks have been like for you as a visually impaired person. I know that you and I have had a couple of different conversations around this, but I want to give you a chance to tell our Spectrios family about some of the ways that you have had success and maybe a little bit about some of the challenges.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Beautiful. Okay, so let's start a little bit general. How would you say that your life looks different right now, given that you can't rely on kind of the level of regular help, especially in-person help, and support from others in the same ways that you did before the pandemic? So I'll rephrase that again. I just am sort of hoping that you can talk to us about how it looks differently now that you can't rely on the same level of help.
No, I get that. Yes, it's very different because in the condo that I'm in, everybody, my friends and my neighbors, because of our age group, we're all sheltering in place and running minimal errands. And that some of the challenges have been getting groceries, getting supplies. Like I said, Costco was out of all kinds of things,
right,
like cleaning supplies. Thank goodness. So I have one of my daughter-in-laws used to call me a hoarder. Thank goodness I hoarded a couple Lysol wipes in the back of under my kitchen sink, and not being able to drive regularly, I always save that extra 4 or 5 rolls of toilet paper or paper towels. So, because when I could drive, it was daylight only.
right.
And having had 2 sons, you don't know how some of the things, how fast you're going to go through some of those basics. So I just continued to have a little surplus, and that served me well during this time.
Yeah, I imagine. Good. Yeah, that's sort of a good point into something else I wanted to ask you about. I know that you have used grocery delivery in the past. I believe that you were a loyal Peapod customer until we
I sure was.
Unfortunately lost them here in the Midwest. How has grocery shopping changed for you in the last few weeks because of the pandemic and with grocery delivery?
I've switched to Instacart. The interesting thing is I'm also eat gluten-free.
That's correct. Yeah.
So it changed. So when I added so the delivery, they said 3 or 4 days, and that was fine. But as soon as I put some gluten-free stuff on there, the last delivery was like a week and a half to 2 weeks.
Oh.
So I think it was 10 days in reality, and so that's been an interesting challenge because of, but I think that's improving. I will say, because the last time I even had gluten-free stuff on, the Instacart has been the delivery time was scheduled for a week.
Okay.
So, but the Instacart, I even have my non-visually impaired friends calling me up because I'm
Yes.
coaching. I'm coaching them because there are so many options. So take Mariano's. Mariano's has their own website.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy through their own website, either delivery um, or pickup.
Mm.
And then you can shop Mariano's through Instacart.
Okay.
Similarly for Jewel. Jewel has 2 apps plus the Instacart app. So it's very complex. So
Yeah.
it's
Quite the
just kind
system
of
to navigate.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And the readability is
Not great.
challenging as well.
Mm.
Because some of the websites, I've been using my iPad, and the screen doesn't pinch and zoom. So reading ingredients,
because
they don't have a nice label view.
Right,
so,
because you need to be more careful about your ingredients because of your allergy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I just go by the foods that I'm familiar with.
Okay, great. So that's an excellent strategy. It sounds to me like you've kind of got a couple-fold approach. You're being pretty creative and pretty flexible in the places that you can be. But you're also kind of sticking with what you know as much as possible to sort of protect yourself given your dietary restrictions.
Exactly, and then I'm simplifying. So, so I didn't try anything new for Easter.
Got it.
I just made a ham casserole, and that was it. And it was good, and it worked out well.
Right, there's a time for experimentation, but maybe that time is not right now.
Exactly. Yeah. I've been simplifying cooking.
Brilliant. So here's another question I have for you. As a access technology coordinator and a person who self-describes as a techie, how has your technology been helpful to you during the last few weeks?
Oh my gosh, without technology, I would be dead in the water. It would have been so much more frustrating. We're doing this via iPad, and thank goodness for the iPad, because I found out that my laptop, I can't read it as well as I used to because I've had vision changes in the last year. So I need a new cable for the laptop to hook to, and my work laptop to hook to my monitor.
Right.
So, but of course there's another challenge there. Amazon is delivering 2 weeks out. So that's...
I saw that Amazon delivery times are kind of increasing because people are relying on it a little bit more. Right now. So it sounds like your iPad has been a pretty good tool for you the last few weeks.
My iPad has been great. Yeah, is my go-to device, including for TV, because prior to the shelter-in-place rule, I switched TV providers.
Okay.
So I went from DirecTV to AT&T, their box, which again I don't have hooked up because I thought my son was going to help me move some furniture so I could get behind the TV. So that hasn't happened, and so now I'm watching streaming TV on my iPad, and PBS is free, and Apple TV I have an included subscription. So it's I've missed a few of the concerts, but I found other things.
Good. Again, circling back to that.
Including YouTube.
Good, yeah, YouTube. Such a great resource. Kind of circling back to that, you just being creative and resourceful when you don't have the normal support that you would have. So this kind of relates to that a little bit. I'm interested to hear, as a semi-retired person who works part-time at Spectrios, how has the transition been for you from working several days a week to now being home all the time?
You know, you get what you asked for. When I was working full time, I said, if only I had 2 weeks home that I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And anything scheduled, I would love it. And now that it's here, thank goodness for friends. It's the isolation, more. I can get myself moving. I've worked at home before, and I can get that going. But I actually do miss the socializing, even if we only crossed paths, in the office. I miss that part of it. But picking up the phone and calling friends or family is a real important contact for me. And I find myself staying up late, even with my son. I can tell we even played Words with Friends the other night.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So sort of like all of us are, you're finding different ways to connect socially with people. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that's been a transition for everybody, despite or even outside of having a visual impairment.
Yeah. Facebook I kind of got into Facebook again for a while just to see what other people were doing. But this week hasn't been so much because pretty much I'm tired of the memes, tired of the... tired of the first week the jokes were fun, and I forwarded them out. Now it's
old.
A little much. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. I wanted to ask you about mobility. So you're a person that uses a long white blind cane.
Yes.
And if you were to go for a walk outside with someone, you might not always use your cane, but you're definitely a person that uses the sighted guide technique quite a bit, where you're kind of you're holding on to someone, making physical contact, and that person is acting as your sighted guide, giving you audio narration of kind of what's coming up. So especially given the fact that you're sheltering in place and that it's not particularly advised to make close contact with someone right now, do you have any suggestions or any ideas for people who normally rely on sighted guide like you do?
No. I'm still struggling with that one.
Yeah.
We even discussed that during the phone and support group, which I'm making a pitch for. That Spectrios does have a phone and support group.
Yeah.
And you can get information, and you can call in anytime. So
yeah, there's information on our website. We have a 2 different phone and support groups running right now. Our website is www.spectrios.org. Yeah. A few other things, that you and I kind of discussed very briefly, because it is important to, as an occupational therapist, I'm probably a little bit biased here, but it is definitely important to keep your body moving. So while kind of going for outside walks isn't so much an option for you, one thing I had as an idea would be similar to what you mentioned earlier, focusing or trying to use something like YouTube to find places and ways to move your body. There are all kinds of resources on YouTube of people doing home workouts or there's a YouTuber who goes by Yoga with Adrienne. I love her yoga videos. Um, Using something like the internet to kind of find ways to be active inside your home is an idea I had.
That's a good point. I gotta find a chair exercises or find one that I can do. And I also had, regarding that, I had a virtual
Mm,
session with my physical therapist,
brilliant.
and she actually sent me some videos of exercises that I could do at home too. So
Great.
that, have I been as good about doing them as I should? Probably not.
We all need a little grace right now,
Yeah,
I think.
ex-
So, yeah.
exactly. I tried my work pants on. They're talking about the COVID-19 or the COVID-15, the
Mm-hmm.
weight gain, like the freshman 15 or 20. I don't know. We didn't call it that when I was in school, but but
Oh,
yes,
that's
my
too
work
silly.
pants still fit.
Beautiful. One other resource I was thinking of, and this is a little bit not quite as accessible as YouTube because it is a subscription service. There is an audio based fitness app that I found out about recently that is called Aptive. So that's AAPTIV, and they have kind of specifically audio based fitness workouts. So that made me think of the visually
I would. Oh,
impaired.
that would be perfect. Is it Android and Apple?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe it's available on Android and Apple. Um,
I'll check it out, and we could both check it out, and then we could post it,
to
send
our
it out.
socials.
Yeah,
That's a great idea. Yeah. Um, so I think I of course that's a good option for people with vision loss because it's entirely through audio. Everything is described in
that's
detail.
yeah, that would be perfect.
Yeah. Excellent. So we'll definitely put a little research into that and maybe put that information out on our socials. How about for you? Any silver linings to report? Anything that has been better or good?
Well, one thing being, I had to find, I had to learn to laugh at myself and to give myself a little grace or space, as you called it, because um, it's just in the process of cleaning, I seem to make more messes. So I was cleaning my counter, dumped my iPad, my coffee pods all over the kitchen floor,
Oh.
and then kicked, and then think I got them all picked up, and then I found one the next day. So it's like, okay, just don't get mad at yourself. You're doing what you need to do, and it's not gonna be perfect the first time.
Yeah, learning to sort of laugh it off, if you will,
Exactly, exactly.
when it's not a big deal. Yeah, good, good, good,
And,
good.
but I also do find myself choosing some things, doing, especially since we're cooking more,
Yeah,
whether that I'm gonna like. I have a recipe that calls for, like I had a pork chops,
mm.
and sometimes prior to my vision changes, I used to debone them before I cooked them, and now I just cook them without deboning them.
Yeah,
Or put cooking things in the crock pot.
right.
Like I said, I've been simplifying cooking, and
Yeah,
also making choices that wouldn't require a trip to the ER.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you don't want to sort of mess around with a knife if you don't have to.
Exactly.
Yeah, good. So it sounds like you're relying a little bit more on your sense of humor,
Yes.
and also kind of sticking with what you know, making adaptations as you need. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So here's a good. I think this might be a fun question to kind of end on. What have you been
Okay.
doing for fun?
I would say exploring some of the streaming TV things that I didn't have a chance for or never did. And then taking more time to explore um, the video options, that are available. Doing more real time FaceTime with my son and my granddaughter. So
Perfect.
I was there at the coloring Easter eggs. So we took like 40 minutes to do that instead of our normal hi, bye, how things going,
Yes.
10-minute FaceTime call. So it just makes life a little more fun.
Yeah, that sounds really nice that you got to FaceTime with your son and your granddaughter over Easter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, yeah, one of the silver linings for sure, and one of the things that has been fun is exploring some of the streaming TV options.
Yep, I
Yeah.
found a good cooking show on PBS.
Oh, perfect.
So it's free. Yeah.
Do you want to shout it out? Is it that good?
I thought it's Somewhere South, I think is the name of it.
Cool.
And the chef interviews cookbook authors and restaurant owners and traces food history. So it's a little bit history, a little bit cooking, a little bit interpersonal
That sounds like excellent.
conversations. So it's my kind of cooking show.
Perfect. That's so great. Thanks for sharing that recommendation.
Okay. Yeah.
Chris, any last thoughts to share before I wrap us up?
Just everybody be safe. Everybody who's listening to this, be safe. Hang in there. We'll get through it.
Good. Thanks for that. So for everybody watching, you can find us a couple of different places. Like I said, we are at www.spectrios.org. We are on the socials so Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at SpectriosI. And you can always reach us at our phone number, area code 630-690-7115. We've got somebody manning the phones, and people are checking their voicemails. So
and we do welcome. Video, and we do phone chats and helps as well. Mm-hmm. So you can.
Yeah, if you've got a specific question, we are more than happy to set something up with you. So feel free to reach out to us. Thanks for watching.